So this is a 1969 Camaro. My name is Matthew Figliola, and I'm the owner and founder of AI Design. AI Design is an automotive customization studio in the New York metro area. I'm more comfortable with more complexity than with less. I prefer the work to be complex. I don't like it when it's simple. Our craft is tailoring a vehicle to its owner, and we do it like no one else. It is a genuine pace car. Someone else tried to do a resto-mod style conversion to it. It was pretty poorly done. So we met with the client, and the client really wanted the 69 pace car look to be retained. He wanted to keep the whole color scheme the same, but add all of the modern equipment and technology that he could to make it drive like a modern car. So I think what's going on in here sort of sets the tone for the whole project. There's really some extreme performance here. This is a brand new drivetrain. This is a Mast Motors LS7, AKA 427, 650 horsepower and 560 torque. We wanted it to still look like a 69 Camaro at heart, but we added some really wonderful things, I think, like this engine cover. This is a late model Camaro cover that's been modified. We've extended it here. We designed and 3D printed these parts. We added a flat firewall. This is all custom made, this plumbing here. It's a K&N filter. The headers are Detroit Speed Engineering. We did all Frigola lines. The hinges are Ring Brothers. We even made a quick release magnetic mount to just take it on and off really quickly. It was curated. I mean, that's the word I like to use, because, you know, it's not just, oh, I like this latch, I'm going to use that because I like it so much, you know. So this is an entirely custom-made interior. The dashboard is totally made custom, as is the console. Even the seats are highly modified Cadillac CTS chairs. The client wanted safer belts with an integral third point. This is just how the 69 gauges looked. In fact, these gauges that we're using are modern gauges meant to just look like the 69 gauge. But we did make some big changes, obviously. This dashboard is totally new. It's got a similar shape, particularly in this area, but we added this hood element here. We've got a really nice Nardi steering wheel, slightly smaller in diameter, custom SS button that we had to make, and we detailed out the column to be 100% black. You know, even the typical GM chrome key turner. And here we have a Ring Brothers shift lever with a pursed shift knob, and these are some switches that we like to use, made by Carling, that we laser etch with our own font and so forth. So I think the seats are really striking. It's the same upholstery scheme in terms of colors and materials that the original seats had, orange with orange houndstooth. This is a Cadillac CTS chair. We converted the CTS chair's headrest to be one single piece, like a racing chair. And the audio system is, I think, pretty special in here. It's pretty well hidden. We've got the main Pioneer head unit here that we're using. The subwoofer, oddly enough, is totally hidden in this void behind this chair. The mini tub is where we put the wider tires in, and we have to stretch the wheel housings to be bigger. So you have to come in board with the wheel housings. and you have to basically cut a whole bunch of metal to do that, right? And then put back all of the structure that you removed. But in the convertibles, there's this interesting void of space that's behind the rear seat. And it's triangular, and it's completely capped off. Like, if this was a normal 69, you have no access to this void of space. So because we mini tubbed it, and because that piece of structure had to come out and then be put back in, instead of putting it back in, we made a new one that duplicated the same shape basically, and we used that void for our subwoofers. As is the case in many of our projects, we use JL Audio subwoofers, which are really some of the best you can use. The other speakers in the car are Dyne Audio, which is a shop favorite brand that we like to use. So for the wheels, we chose an American racing product, a rally wheel that they make, fully polished. And then we put Toyo Proxy rubber on it, 335s in the rear, 275s in the front, and 18-inch overall height. So the nice thing about this design is that it looks like a 60s vintage design. This was a common, this sort of center cap was very common, these cutouts. And though it's much larger and differently scaled, it's very much true to what it used to look like back in the 60s. We used DSE, Detroit Speed and Engineering's, a complete front and a complete rear suspension set from them. And they were, I mean, their stuff was just great. So ride feel difference between a 69 Camaro OEM and this is, you know, there's too great a difference to really explain because, you know, it's vast. This drives more like a modern sports car would drive. And it's got this really tight, confident feel. It's really fast, the acceleration is extreme, and it just feels safe. It feels confident, it feels correct. So the customer who owns this car, he mandated this. He wanted the exhaust to come out of the lower valance here. So we went back and forth with him on a few sort of design ideas, and we settled on this, these ovals. But this exhaust system is completely made from the headers back. Tail lights are custom, LED lighting, a little more modern look to it, but not, the overall shape is still 69. It looks very similar. I think we took the really basic 69 Camaro trunk, which is really just exposed metal and a cloth over the floor. It's not much more than that. And we elevated it to be more rich like the rest of the car and more finished, more modern. We didn't want to go from looking at all this awesomeness over here and then get to the trunk and have this afterthought. The hinges from Ring Brothers. In fact, we had done all this work, put all these panels in, and then realized, oh my God, look at this awful hinge. And there was really nothing we could do with it. And we had already done similar hinges for the hood, so we just purchased the complementing product for back here. And, you know, it looks great.